What's up, everybody, and welcome to another one of my little impromptu videos, which is coming at you guys from an undisclosed location. So I do apologize for the look of it. It's not the best, but it is better than last time, which is obviously a good thing. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Premier League matches from this past weekend. Or I guess there's still some that will be taking place today, but there are four in particular I want to talk about real fast. And I'm only going to give a few minutes to each one because I'm trying to get this stuff out as soon as I possibly can, and quite frankly, I won't have time by the time I get home for family reasons. Actually, happy birthday to my grandfather. He turns 86 today, so it's a special day for him. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about them in chronological order. Starting off for Man City taking on Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I gotta say, man, hats off to Jose Mourinho for putting on a masterclass. I believe that what he showed in this match is the fact that Tottenham really are a true threat to winning this title, because they showed a certain amount of discipline that we haven't really seen from them over the past few years. What we usually see from Tottenham is a team with a lot of potential, with some really good players who, unfortunately for them, tend to blow the big one. And let me tell you, they knocked this one out of the park by destroying Man City. And obviously, City offensively are always going to be a dangerous team. They're always going to be able to create a lot of problems. They're always going to put you under a lot of pressure. But Tottenham just pretty much masterfully dealt with it. There was a few scenarios where I think Sterling, maybe it was Sterling, put in a cross and it bounced off the top bar or something like that. There were a few scenarios where it did look like Tottenham could concede, but realistically, they all defended very well as a unit, and it was essentially the perfect match for them. And that's probably the most impressive thing, is that they just all played a way that we don't usually see them play. I think we all expect a Jose Mourinho team to be solid defensively, but Tottenham, all throughout last season, you could argue that a lot of it probably has to do with them having a lot of injuries, both offensively and defensively. But they definitely looked a lot better yesterday, 2 days ago, than they have. I would say they looked in a long time. They arguably looked better than they did as they were going to the Champions League final, because in a few of those matches they got pretty lucky to move on. Whereas day before yesterday, they were just phenomenal from start to finish. And offensively, they are just extremely dangerous with Son, with Harry Kane, who has been in the form of his life, playing extremely good football, playing in a position that isn't even necessarily ideal, because he is playing a little bit farther back than he usually does. So he is contributing with goals, he's contributing with assists. Just in general, the team plays around him, and it is working perfectly. So hats off to Tottenham, and hats off to Jose Mourinho, who for the first time in his career has defeated Pep Guardiola twice in a row. And as for City, I feel like this is definitely a moment of the season where they know, or they start to realize, where there are a lot of different teams in this league that can beat them and could finish above them and can realistically aim to win the title. One of the teams that can't do that, unfortunately, is my Manchester United. See a little transition I did there. Unfortunately, it was another tough match against West Brom, which is definitely not a team you need to be struggling against. They're a team we should be dismantling and getting past with ease. And to be fair, in the second half, I think we had something like 15 shots. But just the finishing just isn't there, and the quality of the shots weren't really that good, at least for the majority of them. So there is still a long road ahead of us before we can actually be competitive and compete to win the Premier League, with so many different teams competing for it and being realistically dangerous teams that can pretty much beat anybody on any given day. It's an issue, and we just continue to look weak. And honestly, if it weren't for David De Gea having a phenomenal match, and thankfully he has been looking like he's back to his top form. I have to say, Ollie got it 100% correct. Having Dean Henderson in there to have that competition, it really seems like he's stepped up David De Gea's game, and that's great to see, because, man, he saved our asses in this match, especially on the play that led to us getting the penalty that ultimately Bruno Fernandes put away to make it 1-0. David De Gea made a phenomenal save with his foot, and that launched the counterattack, and we got the penalty, and we scored. So David De Gea, essentially, he stopped the goal and he provided a goal, if you want to think about it in a certain way. So, I mean, he has been a monster for us for so many years. He's had a couple of difficult seasons after the World Cup in Russia, where I think he probably lost a little bit of confidence, and the players he had in front of him have definitely contributed to him making a lot of mistakes, and probably his confidence being more and more frail. But hopefully after a series of good performances, hopefully he can get back to where he belongs, as I would believe. I believe as the best goalkeeper in the world, because I think that on his day, there's nobody better than him. And he showed a certain consistency over the years to where if he can reach that, then he's definitely going to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world once again. I guess at the end of the day, all you can really look at is, we've been good in the Champions League, except for that disgusting loss against Başakşehir, where we play midweek. I think it's actually, I can't remember if it's tomorrow or Wednesday, but we will play against them in the next few days. Then there's the fact that, we have to worry about the next few fixtures, because if we beat West Brom and then we go on to have a run of poor matches, then really there's nothing gained from this. So we need to use this to propel ourselves forward, and we just need to do something, because we are above Man City in the league. I think if we win our makeup match, let's just say if we continue to win and then we win our makeup match, we're only like 3 or 4 points off from the top spot. So we're not that far technically. We are, obviously, in terms of having to still make up a game, but if we can just consistently win, then we aren't that far, and technically we could be contenders, but I don't believe it's going to happen. Let's move on to a club that definitely is more than a realistic contender here. We're going to be talking about Leeds. Just kidding. We're not talking about contenders here. But we'll talk about that afterwards. We are going to be talking about Arsenal taking on Leeds, and there's really not much to say about this one, because I feel like it was a 0-0, but I think Leeds definitely showed they had more hunger, they had more desire, and realistically they deserved to win that match. If it weren't for an amazing performance from Bernd Leno in goal for Arsenal, Leeds could have scored 3 or 4, if not more. Arsenal, just in general, it didn't really seem like they had a lot of desire to go out there and just try to win the match. They were pretty much sitting on the back foot the entire time, and they never really made that effort to go out there and try to dismantle a Leeds side who we've seen plenty of times this season. Yes, offensively they're very dangerous, but realistically, defensively, they're shit. So you can beat the fuck out of them. And Arsenal have the players in Aubameyang, in Lacazette, in Saka, in Pepe. They have the players who can, and Willian, of course, who can go out there and beat down a team. And they just didn't really have the right attitude, in my opinion, and the right hunger. And it ended up leaving them with a 0-0 draw, which definitely made Leeds look a lot better than I think they actually are. Because like I said, offensively, Leeds are very dangerous. They have that style, that Marcelo Bielsa style. They're always going to be good offensively, but defensively, they've been extremely frail. And Arsenal failed in every way to take advantage of that. And I think that the biggest loser of the day is definitely Nicolas Pepe, who signed for Arsenal for over 70 million, I think it was. And he's, I think, contributed with 6 goals or something like that. And he's been horrible. So, and obviously that red card left them in an even worse spot than they already were. So, have to imagine that he's going to be, at least right now, considered a flop. And he really does need to turn things around fast before it gets too late for him and people start to turn on him in a big way, which they already are starting to do that as we speak. And let's go ahead and talk about the last match of this video, which of course is, as I mentioned, real contenders, Liverpool, taking on Leicester City. I'm not going to lie to you guys, coming into this, I was hoping that Leicester could do something, because obviously, 3/4 of Liverpool's starting defensive lineup is Fubar. They're going to be out for a very long time, and the back line consisted of Robertson, of Matip, of Fabinho, and of and James Milner playing at right back. So reliable players, more or less, but no actual stars except for Robertson. So there was no reason why I would think that Leicester would go in the entire match without really producing too much of a threat to Liverpool. They had 2 or 3 opportunities that were pretty interesting, but for the most part, they failed to really do much of anything to expose Liverpool's defensive frailties. And fair play. Matip had a pretty decent match. Milner, as always, is just solid. He's never special, but he's always solid. Robertson is a monster, no doubt about that. And Fabinho is reliable. He's a CDM, so you can't really expect too much from him. But he did his job and he did it well. So hats off to Liverpool for destroying Leicester despite having so many injuries and of course having Salah out with COVID. So they had a phenomenal match, and Leicester, unfortunately, season after season, except for the one that they actually won, they continuously look like a team who are on the verge of really being competitive for the title or for doing something great, and they just never really take that next step needed to achieve something great after, of course, winning that title. So I still believe that Leicester are contenders for the top four. It's just a matter of whether or not the teams behind them really start to pick it up. Because you could argue us, City, Tottenham, Chelsea, even Arsenal, if they can actually get the shit together. I'm not going to put Arsenal in there. You know, these are all teams that are probably better than Leicester. It's just a matter of which one of these teams can be consistent and which one of these teams can get their shit in gear, because we've been awful. Spurs are definitely starting to kick into full gear. Chelsea are improving a lot, and City, I don't know, they're having a really bad season right now, but I'm sure that they will turn that around soon enough. But Liverpool still looking like they could win the title. Probably have to be the favorites despite the injuries, because they just, you know, in this system, they work very well. Jurgen Klopp has them running as a very well-oiled machine no matter who's playing, and that's really the sign of a great team. I mean, we saw that under Sir Alex Ferguson plenty of times where no matter who was on the pitch, you could get a result, and you would usually get a really damn good result too. So we're seeing that under Klopp, and if that continues, then there's no reason why they can't make it 2 in a row. I hope not, but it is a very legit possibility. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let me know in the comment section down below what you think of these 4 matches that I talked about. And I will see you guys in the next video.